Hi, Aries. I do apologize. I really have to learn to talk faster. This is part two of November's astrology. We were just coming into the seventh house, but we were finishing up the sixth house right when I shut it off. And I want to go back and make sure that I bring that out. That sixth house is definitely speaking to us about our everyday daily tasks, our daily routines, our daily rituals, our daily diet, our healthcare, our service, our job, everything that we do on a daily basis that we don't think is important, that we overlook, we think is part of our normal day, but those things are really some of the most important things. Regulus has now moved in and changed Virgo forever. And it's bringing in a new power to the understanding of Virgo's anal retentiveness, Virgo's service, Virgo's health and diet. It used to be anal retentive for specific reasons. I mean, like, let me troubleshoot and figure it out and organize this. But now the organizer herself, the Virgin, all she cares about is, well, is this good for me? Is this good for the soul? And that's pretty much where this is shifted to. Is the service that Virgo's energy putting out good for the soul or not? And this is where some of these energies have come in and made that major change because of Regulus being here. And it's going to be here for like 77 years. So this is all about your daily routines, the people, places, and energy that you consume within these daily routines. And do they serve you or do they not? Do they have the heart of the lion behind its service or not? Because if not, you're going to see things starting to shift because Virgo will not take that bullshit anymore. And that's where it's going to be starting to shift out new service. What service is about soulfulness. Now, as I move into that seventh house for you, this is where Libra is. All right, you have Ura moving in to Libra on the 4th. That's sacrifice and commitment. But you also have Haumea here, which is collective consciousness, and Make, which is the level of the lotus flower. And I always say the level of the lotus flower is there's 3 levels. There's the bottom level, which is the lotus flower grows in a swamp. So are you stuck in the level of your swampy waters and you can't see the light from shit because you're stuck in the swamp? Are you kind of starting to come up to the middle, which is like the frothy middle land, where you can see above, you can see below, but somehow you're not really of either? Or are you finally starting to stretch towards your soulfulness, grow, stretch towards the light and bloom? Where are you on this level? Your collective consciousness is definitely bringing its attention to where you are on this level. Now, Ura comes in and asks you, well, where's the sacrifice and commitment to getting to where you want to be on this level? With that being said, all of this has to do with relationships. All of this has to do with your relationships, your partnerships, your business contracts. Anything you care about, you have a relationship with. From your loved ones, your children, your parents, your working environment, even your open enemies. But I always say anything you care about because, anything you care about, you have a relationship with. So, if you have no money, you know about your relationship with no money. Now, let me back up. Relationships on all of their levels are asking you, are you on what page of the lotus flower's growth in these relationships? And are you happy with these relationships and where you are on that level of the lotus flower? Your collective consciousness is bringing this into your attention and asking you, well, where are you going to sacrifice and commit to yourself within these relationships to get what you want instead of committing to someone else? Because Ura is about sacrifice and commitment, but I see her as to yourself because it must start with self-love first. This is where true love comes in. Unconditional love comes in, but it can't come into a relationship if there's no true self-love first. I'm not talking about self-centeredness. I'm talking about true self-love. Honest, unconditional love comes from the self first. Then the 8th house is where that new moon is. The new moon on the 26th in Scorpio is going to take place, as well as where Mercury is in retrograde. Now, what was I just saying about these relationships? Sacrificing commitment to yourself, to the true self-love of yourself, to honor where you are in these relationships, and are the relationships good for you? Because the relationship house for you that's ruling with your joint finances, your joint resources, your joint efforts is the 8th house. This is the rules of the relationship, and this is where your new moon and Mercury retrograde is. So it's pointing out within these relationships, where are they not fair? Where are they not just? Where are they not even? Whether it's your fault or somebody else's, whether you've allowed the scales to be tipped incorrectly. This is asking you, how are you going to rebirth this? How are you going to correct this? How are you going to make sure to transform and keep this in a healing, positive form? By getting right with the justice within relationship, the true balance within the relationship. Mercury's in retrograde here, though. Mercury's in retrograde here until the 20th. So it's kind of looking at the darker aspects, and it can't help but to be a little more self-centered because Mercury is only communicating with you. This means in the joint efforts, joint resources, joint finances, the rules of these relationships, it's very important for you to be very clear and point out the details of what's important, but also make sure that you're learning how to speak it in healthy, positive ways. Not just blurt that shit out because Mercury's in retrograde. Because you could actually make that go a whole lot worse by saying it in a pissy way. This is learning how to communicate from the heart and soul with unconditional love, but for yourself so that you can create justice within the relationships and the rules of those relationships. After the 19th, Mars moves in. So you may be acknowledging this energy build all month and then start to really take action, after the 19th and as you come to the end of the month and into that new moon. So there might be things that are showing themselves that need to be tweaked, need to be changed, shifted, rules, walls, and boundaries of the relationship. But you may have to actually start working on them closer to that new moon, or start developing them around the new moon. And that will be when Mars comes in and starts really asking you about your confidence and your passion, your action, your aggression within it. How do you really feel? Do you really want to put forth this energy or not? Because it won't be in Libra anymore. It'll be in Scorpio. Now, you have the 9th house for you is Sagittarius. Sagittarius is still got Jupiter and Ceres in it. But Ceres just crossed over Jupiter and is going to move out, like I said, on the 16th and 17th. So you're on the last little bit of Jupiter being in shadow of its retrograde, going, Daddy's home and I ain't taking this shit no more. Where's my big piece of chicken? Okay? Jupiter's coming out of its retrograde. Ceres is done asking it about what is nurtured, what is neglected, what the threefold theory is for the higher self, for the ethics, the morals, the spiritual urges, the higher education, your philosophy, your religion, your subconscious energy. And I say subconscious energy because Spirit just said so. They're saying, and these ethics, morals, spiritual urges, your higher truth. Subconsciously, Ceres has been trying to talk to Jupiter about what you need to know about your higher self that you're not getting, what you've been neglecting. What have you been neglecting or nurturing? And how have you been neglecting it or nurturing it? What areas are you doing right and wrong? And Jupiter is definitely bringing that higher abundance and knowledge to you about getting right with self. But Ceres is making it understand this is where you haven't gotten it through your thick head yet, Big Daddy, before you want your big piece of chicken. This is what you're supposed to be understanding. And it's about to move into Capricorn mid-month. So this is its last chance of going, hey, as you're coming out of As you're coming out of this shadow, you're coming out of this darker aspect, and you're ready to move forward. This is what you need to make sure you saw, you got right, so that as you start to move forward and you move into Capricorn, that you start making these energies right. Get clear with that first. And Jupiter's acknowledging it. Plus, Venus is going to move in on the 25th, right there at the end of the month, bringing more sensitivity. No, Venus is moving in at the beginning of the month with Pallas, bringing extra sensitivity to that very energy of going, okay, higher self, turned on here, turned off there, turned on here, turned off there, working really good here, working really bad there. Ethics, morals, spiritual urges, getting right with my intuitive self. Where's the higher self coming in? Where is it working? Where is it not? Where is that higher education, higher spiritual knowledge, higher mind and wisdom coming in clear? Where is it not? Venus is going to come in and go, let me just tell you where you're getting it wrong, just in case you didn't get it from Ceres. And then Pallas is coming in with it going, well, this is how we're going to correct this. So it's a good thing, but it's a touchy thing. Mercury's also in retrograde, so don't forget that. But like I said, Venus and Ceres are moving into that 10th house, your honor, your reputation, your prestige, your professional career, your financial success, your social foundation. It's authority, duty, responsibility. The 10th house is where where Ceres, Venus are moving in. Jupiter will be coming in very soon. Coming in to being with Saturn and Pluto. This is rules, walls, boundaries within that outer community, the outer foundation, the social foundations that will support in the long run the goals that you're trying to create, your honor, your reputation, your prestige. Rules, walls, and boundary. Where are they keeping you from being you? Where do you have the right places in the right places that support you being you and building that honor and reputation that you want, that social foundation that you want? Venus is going to be coming in and tweaking that as well at the end of the month. Yeah, at the end of the month. But mid-month, Ceres is going to come in and go, karmic energy, yo, here I am. The threefold. Where's those rules, walls, and boundaries been set properly? Let me give you some mirroring. Let me bring you some mirroring and make sure that you're starting to see this. Then Venus is going to come in with sensitivity at the end of the month, starting to make sure that you're getting right with building this energy so that you can actually build a true honor and reputation in your outer community that you want, that support you. But like I said, it may be coming with a little bit of to help you get right. It all depends on where you are. The 11th house for you has nothing in it at this moment. But that's why that 10th house is definitely being hit so hard for you, because it's carrying from the 10th house to the 11th house. And this is why I said the larger groups, those larger foundations, those larger memberships that you are part of, support, do they? Do they support your goals, your dreams, your ambitions? Are the right people, places, and things there for the groups, friendships, memberships? And that also brings you right back to your outer community of your social foundation that build your honor and your reputation. Ceres is going to come in with the threefold and bring some mirroring in mid-month on the rules, the walls, and boundaries, and show who's crossing those lines and where those lines need to shift because you haven't gotten it through your head quite yet. And this is telling you how to nurture it, or do you continue to neglect it? Because she's free will as well. Venus can come in and make it extra sensitive as you enter December, saying if you didn't learn the lesson, Venus will come in and make sure you did, or at least try to push you in the right way. So this is making sure that you're putting those proper rules, walls, and boundaries out by understanding how to nurture yourself and not neglect yourself for your goals, your dreams, and your ambitions. Now the universal 12th house, though, this is where it kicks in, because Neptune is still in retrograde until the 27th all month long. It is definitely having a little bit of a conversation with Saturn for the most part. Saturn's coming closer. Neptune's still going backwards. Lilith is more or less coming backwards too, going right over Pluto. Okay? Rules, walls, boundaries. Within the magic you create. Are you creating from illusion or delusion? Are you creating from nostalgia of what you want to believe because you liked that memory, or the truth? Are you learning a lesson to create healthy magic or ill magic? This is where fantasy smacks you in the face with harsh reality, but it's your 12th house. This is where your subconscious is making itself known. This is where your hidden self is making itself known. This is where you hold on to grief, sorrow, shame, and blame. Embarrassment. This is where the bad habits have caused the self-undoing and the self-sacrifice. You also have Halley's Comet coming through Neptune's orbit. They're not actually going to be anywhere where we can see them. But the point is, it's bringing darker aspects up. So those skeletons in the closet are going to be coming in going, are you learning? Because this is about healing the alpha that is you. Bringing it all right back to standing in your power of your self-worth, your self-value, your self-esteem, by knowing that you can have your inner emotional security by claiming your independence, your individuality, your uniqueness, and your freedom. But only you can reclaim it. I love you guys. See you next month.